Okay, I think we're now live. So hello everyone, and welcome to the weekly Vega Fairground or Testnet Jam. My name is Daigan. I'm a community manager at Vega, and you probably recognize me from here and there on Discord, Telegram, everywhere else that Vega has social channels. The Vega Fairground or Testnet Jam is an ongoing series. We run it every week at Thursday, 6 p.m. UTC +1 or British summertime. And we take a deep dive into an aspect of the Vega protocol, a member of the team or special guest, or we look into an aspect of a certain team, which we'll be doing today. Then we follow with an open Zoom room so that any keen attendees can have a chat with the team and follow up on some of the themes that we've covered in the call today. And this is open for anyone to attend if they're interested. You just get to hang out with the team and just chat with us. So this week we have yet another first-time member, one of the earlier members of the core engineering team, Pete. Today, Pete and I will be talking a little bit more about the ongoing work of the core team, and we'll have an updated status of their current projects and also his hopes for the future of Vega. As always, we have some quick housekeeping before we begin. While Pete is presenting, you are free to ask questions in the Twitch chat, and he will answer those at the end of the call or during the call if they're particularly relevant. And then about 5 minutes before we end the session, I will post the Zoom link in the Twitch chat, and we encourage you all to come along if you want to join us at Zoom afterwards. So let's begin. Pete, would you mind introducing yourself to the community watching at home?
Hello, everyone. I'm Pete. You wouldn't have seen me anywhere before because I'm a geek and I hide in my room and write code all day. I joined the company about 2 years ago. So I'm not one of the original developers, but I'm one of the next batch that joined. And I've been here for 2 years. I really liked it. My history, I first got into finance about 10, 11 years ago. I joined a hedge fund that was purely manual trading, and they wanted someone to help to turn all of their manual trades into electronic trades to take some of their work away from them. I was there for about seven years, I think. Then I went to Credit Suisse and I worked on some very low latency trading systems. So I was client side. I was building models and trading bots that would trade with multiple exchanges around Europe as quickly as we could, using hardware like FPGAs for building our order books. And we were looking at sort of sub 10 microsecond tick to trade trading. And then straight after that, I joined my first kind of crypto company, which was building a centralized exchange. And we were working on building a very high performance, high throughput exchange. And then I joined Vega, and here I am.
Oh, wow. I knew you had a lot of experience, but I wasn't expecting that. You've really been everywhere and done quite a lot. Like Vega's the perfect place for you. Yeah, my next question was going to be like how long, but I guess I'll ask why make the jump to a project as uncertain as Vega? What made you think, okay, I want to go experimental after you've had quite a lot of traditional finance? I guess you might have had a taste of it in the centralized crypto derivative project. But yeah, you tell me.
So when I left the centralized crypto project, I'd actually kind of wanted to take some time out, a couple of years out to spend with my daughter. My daughter was just starting school. And then this project came up, Vega, and I got sent the white paper, and I got one of my friends had moved there a couple of months before to do a bit of contract work. And it just looked really interesting. So my 2 years of sitting at home just doing homework suddenly became I could do some more crypto stuff. This looks really good. And the more I looked into it and the more I spoke to the team members, it was just a very passionate project. There was a lot of fun things I hadn't done before. There's a lot of the crypto world that I haven't really touched. I'm more traditional finance. And when I was talking to the people at the company, you expect to find people that you get on well with and people that you don't get on well with and you don't quite link. I just didn't find any of those. Everyone I spoke to, I found really interesting and fascinating. So I just wanted to learn more and get involved in it. So when I was lucky enough that they offered me a role, jumped straight in.
Likewise. Yeah, it's quite cool. And yeah, there's so much to discover. I quite like everything because you can learn every day. There's always something new, something crazy going on. The industry moves so fast. And to be part of that is quite cool. So what about this was the first time you moved to a more decentralized kind of DeFi crypto kind of project. What about that fascinated you, and what do you think they could learn from the traditional finance side of things? So there's two questions in there.
Two questions. So what could I learn about decentralized? I didn't know anything about it, but I was very interested in sort of networks and how they communicate and the underlying technology. So not so much the crypto, but how do we get multiple nodes running that all talk to each other, that there's redundancy, but there's also low latency and plenty of bandwidth to do as much as we want to scale to. And so seeing that there was so much software development already about these things, wanting to learn about them and get involved in utilizing them and trying to optimize and tune it for a specific product was very interesting to me. And that kind of leads into the second question, is what can I bring? Is that I know what the traders kind of want. I know the things that are important. People want to be able to place their orders and get feedback straight away. They want to not have problems, which you have even at centralized exchanges, where during busy times you can't send in enough orders quick enough, and so you're delayed by seconds, minutes, even hours in some of them before you can get your trade on. How can we get around those problems in a decentralized way, and how can we make it better for our clients and traders?
Yeah, fascinating answer. That kind of quite naturally brings me on to the next question, which is you bringing this expertise from TradFi, and you're in the core development team. So what exactly is the Vega core development team? What do you guys do, and how do you organize yourselves?
Right, so what we do is we take the protocol spec, so the Vega protocol spec, which is the white paper, turned down into the actual bits that we need to implement the white paper, and then we build a version of that using the Golang programming environment. And the idea is that we'll build up a working piece of software that matches the spec and the white paper so that people can then deploy it and start testing with it. So the team I work in is a group of, I think it may be six or seven people. We look at the specs, we take them, break them down into tickets, and then implement each part of those. And once we're happy that it's working, we pass it over to the QA team, who will then go and check that actually what we've developed is what the spec was. And at that point, we can then pass things over to people to play with and test, like the public and the community.
And do you enjoy this process of breaking down the white paper and finding all these things? Is it as easy as seeing like the white paper needs this, therefore I'm going to make this week? Or does it get a bit complicated? I don't know, like how you find the process of translating it.
I've never really done it before. I've never been as much end to end as it is here. We're going from almost like a white paper to a sort of spec, to tickets, to code, to testing and improving that it's done. So we do the whole life cycle. It's the thing about this company, because it's still quite small, even though we've been going for many years, we still have to all get our hands dirty and do all the different parts of the project. And I find it really interesting because I'm learning as I go a lot of these things, seeing where it comes from and understanding the reasoning behind why we're doing something, and then being able to help and control as it goes through the system until the users get it is great, because I get a full understanding of what we're trying to achieve and what the public really want from that. So we can try and meet in the middle and hopefully make both sides happy.
Well, that was interesting. So another question that we get very, very commonly in the community is when mainnet? And you said you're building everything so that it can be deployed. I know you can't answer this question, but how are the releases coming along in the core team?
They're coming along, they're doing well. It's a lovely feeling that every day we can see ourselves moving closer and closer to the deadline or whatever our milestone is at the moment. And we see the list of what things we have planned for the next week, month, 3 months, 6 months, and we're always moving towards it. And it's a great feeling. So every time we release something, it's got more features in, or it's got a performance improvement, or it's got more stability in it. And it's great from a development point of view, seeing the progress and the improvement as we release things.
Yeah, you guys work hard. I see I'm in the office with you guys quite a bit, and they're there till late. They're working and they're trying to get it done. So yeah, only kudos to you guys and keep going. So if you look back on all the things you've been doing for the last 2 years, what have you found surprisingly easy to do that you didn't expect about this whole decentralized building process? And what has been surprisingly challenging in the projects you've been working on?
One of the things personally for me is when I joined, I had no Go experience. and I didn't know how much of an impact that would be. So I had the trading knowledge. I knew basically what things had to do, but I'm a C++ programmer by heart. I didn't know how much of an impact that would be. Would it stop me from working? And I found no. Go is actually a lovely language. It's relatively easy to pick up, and I could read code within a few days of seeing it. And I write okay code at the moment, and so that's easier. I thought that would be a bit of a stumbling block when I started. And then as far as things that are hard, it's just the speed at which we're developing new features. Because the team's grown now, and we're 6 to 8, whatever it is, the development group, we don't always get to see on a day-to-day basis what code and what features people are working on. And I can get my head down and do a bit of work for a week, pop it up, and there's 2 new features that I don't know about. I didn't know how it's been implemented, how it's integrated. So just trying to keep on top of all the different parts of the project is very difficult. And that's a good thing, because it means we're doing stuff and we're releasing things, and it's great. But as a developer, going from a year ago where I kind of knew what was happening to now where there's just a lot of excitement and a lot of new stuff coming out, and it's just, yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, I can echo that. In the community work, like having to constantly change what we're talking about or how things are going. It's just yeah, things change here so quickly, and then it's something happens, and then we shift our thing depending on what's going on as well, even in the industry. So yeah, it's both a good and a bad thing, but I like it. It keeps keeps you on your toes, it keeps things interesting.
Yeah, you're never bored.
Yeah, you're never bored, and there's always something else that like comes up and breaks everything. So moving on from releases, I saw, well, you know I saw because I was organizing it, but you got involved in the Vega Builders Club a few weeks ago. What is the Vega Builders Club, and why did you decide, like, what did you do and how did you get involved, and will you be getting involved more in the future?
Right, so the Vega Builders Club is an initiative to try and get the community to start using Vega via the APIs to build something that's useful, but also as a learning tool as well. So the example we were using for the very first meeting was to build a trading bot. So once we have the Vega test up, which we do, and people can place trades and manage their positions and their accounts, the next step is to help people build bots where they can add logic and they can add their own sort of controls to their orders. And this is 2 good things. One is it exercises Vega, it gets people placing trades and doing things, and 2, it gets the public confident that they can very easily write a system that will send trades in. With my experience back at doing bots at Credit Suisse, when I saw that this was something that could be done in the next couple of weeks, I was like, yeah, I'll put my hand up. I'll be really interested in that. Not just because of the Vega side, but for doing trading bots, it's interesting. You're collecting trading data, you're thinking of ways to analyze it, and then generating trades from that data. And I think once we start getting a bit further with that, we'll start finding more requirements that we need from Vega, maybe more data that the public would like, different formats of data, or just different ways that they will want information from the Vega network that we have now.
Yeah, once again, like at the beginning, really fascinating to see that you've been working on bots for like so long, and it was some of the things you did at Credit Suisse and other places. It makes you the perfect person to really get involved with VBC at that time. And I'm sure the team would benefit from having you involved in the future if they continue down this line, which Chris seems to be setting up for. So check out Vega Builders Club if you haven't yet. And yeah, that's the end of me shilling it. But what the thing about you building on top of Vega is a very key thing, and I think it's something that that's one of the key messages of Vega. The fact that we're building not just like derivatives that are fast and you can trade on and you can use and you can maybe save money on a few things, but also that you can build anything on top of it. And then it's a big thing for developers to just like to launch markets, not even developers, like market creators. You can launch markets on it, you can create things. And then that's the point of the hackathons as well, to kind of make get people getting involved in making the tooling and the things you need to then improve what we've got. And then hopefully, yeah, one day once it's mainnet, it's not us who's like owning it. So it's all you guys building and creating and I don't know, keeping the network going. Big shout out to the validators. So yeah, I went on a ramble there, but like that's the fascinating thing about Vega. So I don't know, anyone watching, I think it's something to pay attention to. Yeah, so leading on from that question, what do you think about the development community around Vega right now, and how would you improve it?
So I haven't dealt too much with the development community, but I've seen some things on the message boards and the forums, and there's a bunch of very, very passionate people. And the thing that I think impressed me was they're not just coming to this as new. Some of them have got the same backgrounds as myself. They've got traditional finance backgrounds, and they're working jobs like I used to, but in their spare time, they're reading up about Vega. They're turning up to the talks like we're doing now. They're contributing, which is brilliant. And so I know that these people have jobs which are tiring, long hours, but for them to then put 4 hours in to come and help and do stuff with us means that they're passionate. They really want to do this. And that's lovely. As a developer, seeing that the code that we're working on and we're releasing being worked on by people who are loving it that much is brilliant. And certainly at the moment, if you look at testnet and its external uses, probably 90% of all the code being used in testnet is written by us. 10% is written by people outside that playing. In a year's time, that would be brilliant if that was 50% ours and there was a whole set of tools and things out in the ecosystem written by the public, the community. And in 2 years' time, that would be great if that was 20% core and 80% because people have just built so much stuff. And we're trying to give them the documentation they need to build those things and then just hand it over and say, do magical things with it. Turn that passion that you've got into something fun. We'll help you as much as we can. We love seeing it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, your passion about this really is shining through here, and it's really cool. I also think like the development community is quite key. Like I'm really keen for Builders Club and other things around that, even the hackathon bounties to really grow, because that will be, I think, one of the things that makes or breaks Vega. Not breaks, but like it will definitely make it more. So yeah, as much as we can do to grow that, that's good for everyone involved. So I saw that you were, not you, but the core team you said as well, it's been getting a lot bigger and you've been recruiting new people. Could you tell us a bit about these new faces? What do you think of them? And also why, like, which, are they people to do the same thing as you, or are they completely different skill sets and things we're hiring for?
The thing about the core is you try and hire people that can do any part of the system. So we're generally picking up Go developers with Go experience. If they've got any finance, that's brilliant. If not, they can learn as they're going through. We picked up, as you say, a few developers, and I'm not sure if we're lucky or it's just Vega is now attracting some really good people, but we've just hired 3 really good people. It's amazing. So just to speak to them and to see the speed that they're picking up and getting on board and contributing to work is amazing. You mentioned that there's people working late in the office. There's never people moaning about working late in the office. People are traveling into London to be in the office and staying there because they just love doing the work. It's great. And to have people of the caliber that we've hired in the last few months is brilliant. It means I've got people to bounce ideas off when I want to talk about things. There's a confidence that everyone is working towards the same goal. They're not new developers. They're not like, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. Am I in the right direction? They're doing positive things every time they touch the code. They're helping out in places that they weren't asked to, but they're contributing to. And it just feels like they're all helping to get this project over the line, which is awesome.
Awesome, really awesome. That was a glowing review. Yeah, we really focused on growing up the engineering teams. I think next step is to scale the community teams and all of the non-technical facing roles, which we've been doing a bit slower, but soon coming. It's very soon. I think that's mostly it for the kind of core work that I wanted to ask you about. Is there anything that I've missed or you think is interesting about what you guys are doing that you would like to share with the world?
One of the things we have been growing quite recently is also the QA department, which doesn't get much of a say when we talk about core, but certainly we've hired some brilliant people into that as well. And you'll see if you've been using the software that it's just getting more stable. It's getting faster because we're identifying bottlenecks better, and the team as a whole is now more confident with what we're releasing, down to the fact that we've got some great QA people in. They know what they're doing, and they're helping to make a better product at the end of the day.
Yeah, do you think we should get one of the QA team on next?
Definitely. If you've seen the work that they've put in the last year, it's lovely. It's lovely to see. So yeah, if they can explain the things they're doing to make sure that we release good products every time. Yeah, it's great. Probably would love it.
Yeah, good stuff. We should definitely get them on for a future one. So aside from your core work, what else do you tend to do at Vega? Or is it just core work? Because, mainline's got to happen.
Most of it is core work. I do a fair amount of working with specs and generating tickets. I've done a lot of work in my previous jobs working with testing. So I'm good at creating tickets that I think will help the test people as much as the developers. And then this week, for instance, we've got a new starter. So I'll be spending a lot of time just pair programming, just helping to get them on board. Because I'm now one of the old people in the company that's been here nearly 2 years. Yeah, I've got a lot of experience with the code. And so I can help get people up to speed with what we have, why we've done it, and just give them a good background that they can build on as they're learning.
Yeah, sometimes I'm jealous. Wish I could code and join you guys. It's fun. So is there anything you'd like to get more familiar about with or learn more about in this industry within Vega or within the whole blockchain space?
I love doing the tech stuff I'm doing now, so the sort of real low-level tech, but I'm not that up to speed with the cryptos. So I know we have work on things like the Ethereum bridge. I understand it from a high level, but the details not so much. And I know there's a lot of courses, there's a lot of YouTube videos explaining this stuff. I would love to have a week where I could just sit and absorb some of these things, and just to give me a different perspective of how everything works.
Yeah, it's really quite fascinating, and there'll just be more and more opportunities, I think, for building on those areas in the future. So it's something to learn. But then there's also so many new things that keep coming up that, like, I think there's EVM, right? So it's Solidity. Solana's all built on Rust, and then like we use Go and we use various other things. So yeah, it's a big world out there. There's a lot to learn, and yeah, I would also love to give some time learning at some point. Tell us an interesting non-crypto related fact about yourself. This can be like, I was a grade 8 pianist, or I liked to dance on my weekends, or anything that you like doing. I'm a Pokemon master. Could be anything.
That's it. Oh, you've mentioned them all now. There's no more to say.
That's it.
No, when I was a kid, or sort of in my late teens, I was one of the top table tennis players in the country. So I used to play National Table Tennis League, Division 1. So I used to travel around England playing. I went to France and Belgium to do training camps and tournaments when I was little. And I still play now. I'm a qualified table tennis coach.
That's amazing. That really is. Rebecca told me the same thing when I just began, that she was lying. She was convincing everyone that she was the best at table tennis, but I'm sure you actually are. And I'd love to play you sometime. I actually play quite a lot myself, but I'm not amazing. I'm good. I used to play in school very often.
I can coach you.
And I also got a friend who played at a national level, and he would coach me sometimes. So yeah, really, really cool. Yeah, I think that's it for the interview, or the Q&A interview. Yeah, you got the job. You did a great job. Is there anything that you would like to ask me? You don't have to. I mean, you don't have to think.
No, I'm a tricky one. So you're going around the company asking people to do a talk. What are you going to do when you run out of people?
Well, this is a very relevant topic. We're thinking of changing the structure of Fairground Jam, and maybe I make it like a Vega related thing, and then we cover all things Vega. And I don't just do people, I do special guests, I do things in the derivative space. This Fairground Jam is very useful for giving people support if they need stuff with Fairground, but we have now the research hours on Tuesdays where people can come and ask questions about different things. And perhaps we do another way. But yeah, I am going to run out of people soon. And sometimes I find it hard. Like sometimes I need to get people and I can't. So I think I will broaden the scope and we will perhaps rebrand it at some point. But right now we've got quite a few more people, and also with all the new hires, and I've got to start getting them at some point too. So I don't think we'll run out in the immediate future. Yeah, as soon as we run out, we'll just got to hire more people. Yeah, so that's it from the questions. You have one question in the Twitch chat, which I don't know if you can answer, but they've asked, what's the ETA for a core release? there was a release talked about quite heavily in the Vega Tech update that I put out as a research article recently. Maybe that release or just any release, I don't know. So answer as much of that as you can.
I can't really answer it, not because I don't want to, I just don't really know. So we've got sets of work we have to get on with and do. Once we hand it over to testing, they test it until they're happy with it, and then we then release it. So I don't really know what the date is of the next big release. I just know the bits of work we're working on at the moment.
Thanks, Pete. That's good. He said, fair enough. They all said makes sense. Yeah, you have to test it. And sometimes testing draws up bugs or other shit, and then you have to work on that. So yeah, it is what it is the short answer. But if you read the Vega Tech update on the blog, you can see where they're at. And like that was from Ed, head of engineering, who gave a big update on everything. So check that out. That's it for the Vega Fairground Jam. This was one of the smoother ones we've done. It was really interesting talking to you. So thank you for taking the time to come and be a guest, Pete. We will be heading over to a Zoom room very briefly, where if you want to come and chat further with Pete or anyone else, you may do so. The Zoom room is here. Someone said, someone's challenging you to ping pong. We've got a few people in the chat. Someone said, do you do stand-ups? Which I'm not sure what you mean by stand-ups, but you can clarify if you want.
Yep. Does he mean stand-ups like agile stand-ups?
Maybe, yeah, that's probably what he means.
Okay, yes, we do. We do 2 a day. We do one at 10 o'clock in the morning, and that's so we all know that we're doing the right thing for the day. Then we have one at 5, and that's because we have some teams in the US. And so we get to make sure that they've got what they need to get started and hand over any work we've done during the day, which might impact them.
Perfect. Well, yeah, thanks for asking a question. Yeah, okay, that's it. We're going to be in the Zoom room after this. Thank you, Pete, again, and catch you guys next week, 6 p.m. for the same time for the next Vega Fairground Jam. Come to the research hours on Wednesday at midday, and also keep an eye on the blog post. We should have something on LP rewards at some point, but we can't promise an exact time or date. Thank you all. See you in the Zoom room. Thank you, Pete, and until next time. Bye, guys.